Welcome to a new deep dive. Today, we're unpacking sources focused on something I know many of you think about, teaching children the value of money. Our mission here is to pull out the really actionable stuff, the insights to help you shape, well, a financially secure future for the next generation. Have you ever seen money just vanish from a child's hand on some impulse buy and wondered how to stop that? Well, our sources suggest you're definitely not alone, and that's exactly why this deep dive feels so important right now.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is how the material frames financial literacy. It's not just a skill, is it? It's presented more as a foundational life lesson. It helps build critical thinking, patience. Kids who grasp these money concepts early, they're, more likely to avoid debt later on. They make smarter spending choices. And they seem to appreciate hard work more. So when you connect it to the bigger picture, you're really teaching life lessons, not just finance.
That's a great way to put it, foundational. And our sources actually lay out 10 pretty powerful lessons. They come with practical examples, too, things that can really transform how a child understands money. Should we dive into them? The first one is pretty fundamental. Money is earned, not given.
Yes, absolutely crucial. It's about making that connection, isn't it, between actual effort and getting money. It's not just about a handout allowance. The sources suggest linking small payments, maybe $1 or 10 rupees, to specific tasks. Washing the car, helping with chores. It shifts their thinking from just expecting things to understanding value comes from doing something.
Right.
Contribution.
Right, from entitlement to agency. Okay, so once they kind of grasp earning, the next big step our sources highlight is teaching delayed gratification, showing them they don't have to buy everything the second they want it. One idea I mentioned is using a clear jar for saving up for a specific toy. They can literally watch the money grow.
And that visual is powerful. It builds patience, sure, but it's more than that. It's about self-control. There's actually research, in behavioral economics showing this ability to wait is a huge predictor of long-term success, not just with money, but academically, in careers. You're essentially strengthening their brain's ability to plan and resist impulses.
That makes sense. And tied into that, prioritizing is the next lesson, discussing needs versus wants. The sources suggest keeping it simple, asking in the moment, like in a shop, okay, this packet of chips, is it a need or is it a want right now? And then kind of guiding their thought process there.
That distinction is so fundamental. And for kids, our sources stress it's often not intuitive at all. It really takes consistent conversation to help them learn to tell the difference. It's a core skill for sound financial choices their whole lives. Helps fight off that constant consumer pressure, too.
Definitely. Okay, so from there, the sources suggest introducing budgeting basics, the idea of planning before you spend. A practical tip was giving a small, regular allowance, say $5 or 200 rupees a month, and then actually helping them manage it for their own small purchases, like snacks or little toys. Maybe tracking it in a notebook.
Yeah, that hands-on part is key. It makes the idea of a budget real, not just abstract. They get a sense of control over their own money, they make choices, and they see the results. That's way more effective than just telling them.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Next up, making saving cool. How do you do that? Well, the sources say frame it as something that gives them freedom, future options. Encourage a piggy bank, maybe even a simple savings account. And one source even suggested offering to match some of their savings, like a little incentive.
Oh, that matching idea is clever. It kind of mirrors things like employer 401k matching for adults, doesn't it? It makes saving feel like an opportunity, something positive, not just about not spending.
Exactly. Then there's this point. Giving is as important as earning. Explaining that helping others is actually a form of wealth, too. So encouraging them to donate a small part of their allowance to a cause they choose. An animal shelter, maybe, or a local charity.
That really broadens their view beyond just themselves and their own stuff. It builds empathy, connection to the community, teaches them that being financially well isn't just about having things, but also contributing. Shifts the focus from me to we.
Right. And another related point is teaching that comparison is the enemy of peace. When they say, but my friend has a better toy, gently reminding them about gratitude for what they do have.
Yes, and our sources link this directly to emotional well-being. It's about actively cultivating gratitude, maybe by talking about what they're thankful for, or even those charitable acts we just mentioned. They naturally help kids see beyond just what others have.
Good point. Okay, moving into the modern world, helping them understand how digital payments work. Explaining that a card swipe or a tap isn't magic money. It actually leaves your bank account. Like, using UPI or Venmo, it seems instant, but it's real money moving.
Absolutely essential now. It stops kids seeing money on a card as this like infinite abstract thing. It connects the digital action back to the real consequence of money decreasing, prepares them for a cashless world.
And then explaining investing as planting seeds, using stories or analogies, talking about how money can grow over time, maybe mentioning things like SIPs or even tangible assets like gold, perhaps. The analogy used was watering a seed so it grows into a tree, showing compounding.
Yeah, introducing that core concept. Your money can work for you. You don't need to get into complex finance, obviously, but that simple planting seeds metaphor makes long-term growth understandable, sets a great foundation.
And finally, number 10, embracing that mistakes are great teachers. If they blow all their money too fast, the advice is, let them feel that consequence. Don't immediately bail them out. And then have the conversation about what they learned, what they might do differently next time.
Right. Which raises a really important question, doesn't it? How does all this theory actually play out? How does it translate? Our sources actually shared a really neat little anecdote that shows this perfectly.
Oh, yeah, that story was great. It was about a nephew, wasn't it, who always spent his weekly pocket money, like 100 rupees or maybe a couple of dollars just on chips and soda, instantly gone. His parents encouraged him to save for something bigger, but he wasn't really serious about it until he went to the store, saw a toy he really wanted, and realized he didn't have enough money because he spent it all. That was the moment.
The aha moment.
Exactly. And from that day, the story goes, he started consistently saving a part of his allowance, about 30 rupees a week. And eventually he bought that toy, his first, earned financial victory. It just shows how experiencing the consequences makes these lessons stick.
It really does. And it perfectly highlights that bonus tip that ran through all the sources. You have to be the example. Kids watch everything. If you budget, if you save, if you give, if you talk openly about money decisions, even your struggles sometimes, they just naturally soak up those values. It shapes their whole relationship with money.
So thinking about all this, what does it really mean for you listening? You're not just raising kids, are you? You're raising future adults. And teaching them these money values now gives them, well, a kind of emotional and financial toolkit for life, security for tomorrow.
Absolutely. And think about the ripple effect that could have. So here's something to consider. What's maybe one small financial habit you could consciously model or talk about with a child this week? Even something simple. Because that one small thing could be the seed, that grows into their future financial freedom.